has to a little bit of introspection on you to tell me what are your feelings, what do you think it is the message behind it. Okay, so the questions are like here. By the way, in case that you didn't notice, this show was, as I mentioned before, happening on the late 90s. So it's 1997, 1998 at most. Okay, do you notice a lot of differences to the day to day on the day of 1998 among students? What is the first thing that you notice? Differences. Think about your daily life as a student at college, your social interactions, everything, and then look at that college life and those social interactions. What is different?
I think because the social media.
Social media, right? First thing that you notice is like there's no social media. Means no cell phones. You notice that nobody was carrying any phone around, okay? So that changes the dynamics of social interaction a lot. Maybe you didn't notice because you were born in the internet era, right? But there's no internet there, but probably they. I remember back in 1998, the first glances about internet.
Not really normal.
I mean, not having internet.
Oh yes.
Yeah, of course. No, it wasn't the norm back in those days. Internet was that. You ask people back in 1998, not everybody has access to that. Needless to say, access to a smartphone, right? So the whole social interactions were different. What else do you notice and how? If you need to go to the toilet, you can go, okay? Because I'm gonna continue and then probably let you go 10 minutes before the class is over, okay? Anything else that you notice that has changed a lot from those days to today? Tina? And besides the phones and the internet, what else? Anything that you notice? There is a shot right at the beginning when she arrived in New York, like the skyline of the city. Do you pay attention? No, right? Do you? There's some buildings there that they are not there anymore.
So that was before the 2001.
Yes. You remember what happened in 2001 when you were little kids? But I suppose you know, like the terrorist attack on the Twin Towers in New York, right? So those was a very big landmarks in the skyline, very big towers, and you can see them actually in the shot, but they're not there anymore. Okay, so that's a big change in the whole scenery of New York City. Okay, so the internet, cell phones. What about when the show starts? She's talking to someone she's like recording herself with something, right? You know, you notice right there.
I don't know why you called.
I think she didn't catch that part because she heard a little bit later. That was right at the beginning. What about you, Anna? At the beginning of let's do this exercise a little bit better. I never do it in this way, but let's do it in this way. Let's give it a try. So this is here, right? And then right here at the beginning.
Dear Sally, you should probably be sitting down for this. Because he's been going exactly as it was. They say I forgot. But today, that's what Ben 4 years been. Where are you going?
Oh, lady.
Where is it?
Basically, I can't.
You what?
I hate for finish point. First of all, everything was perfectly.
Well, I lost track what it is, but she's using something like a recording machine, right? Yeah, she's using cassettes. You know what a cassette is?
Yeah.
You know what a cassette is, right? Yeah, we are 80, I suppose. I mean, I'm 80s children, so I know what a cassette is, but yeah, it was like something that you used to record music and to listen to music way before CDs and way before MP3s and all this stuff, right? So she's using a recorder to record her voice and then send the tape or cassette by mail to somebody, and then somebody get that thing and put it in a recorder machine and listen to it. So, until what extent the social interactions has changed, because nowadays if you want to talk to someone, to a good friend, what would you do? You just take your phone and then just send a message, right? Or a voice message, and that's it. Instantly that message is there. But by the point that she finished her recording and the time that the receiver gets that, probably there's a period of time, right? Would like just like a week or so to get that message across. So that thing changes social interactions very, very, very much. You will see later what I'm talking about. So I have some notes here. I lost my train of thought. Okay, so let's just go with the questions. So the first one says, describe felicity in detail, including physical traits and personality. Okay? So let's see if we can do that together here. Let's ask each of you one adjective to describe her personality. Okay? Because it's the most difficult one to do. The physical description is easy. You have to remember how she looks like. So let's start with you, Angel. Give me one adjective that describes her personality.
I think I think Felicity is a little bit naive because she just she had crush on the guy that study in the same high school.
So let's go start with that one, naive. Okay, that's better. Naive, and then you said she's naive because she just follows someone that she barely knows, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Owen.
Pure heart.
Pure hearted. Pure heart.
Pure heart.
Pure heart. Okay, we can just deconstruct that one later. Tina.
Emotional.
Emotional. Okay, that's a good one. Emotional. Okay, so Angel mentioned that she's naive because she just did something that. What did she do that you feel that she's naive?
Because she and the guy study in the same high school, but they never spoke in the high school. But she just had a crush on him, and she had a dream about to have a relationship with that guy, and
So she's naive because she believes that she can have a relationship with Ben, even though that she doesn't know him well, right? Okay. What about pure heart?
I think because her family overprotect her, so let her just not a stronger people.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but pure heart, in your opinion, is a bad thing or is a good thing?
And I think in social, now, not a good thing.
Okay, the way that you explain is like because her parents overprotect her too much.
Yes.
She is very innocent. Because pure heart, it can be like pure heart means like that she's very she always think the best of things, right? Pure heart, a good person, innocent, right?
Yes.
But being a good person is a good quality, but in this situation you say that it's not that good.
In my opinion.
Okay, so I think pure heart and naive kind of like connect here, right? Because she believes things that maybe are not real. Okay, so let's just put here that she was naive. Naive in this situation is bad, right? Okay, I'm gonna just write down in red the things that naive. Okay. What about emotional? Why is she emotional?
Her classmate should ask her, "Are you okay?" And she starts crying. And a few minutes, she smiles.
Okay, that's a very good observation. During that part when they met each other the first time, right? She was crying and then right away she was just like laughing and smiling, right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing, being emotional? What do you think? Being emotional is good or bad? Just give me your opinion.
I think have.
Okay, that's a good point too. Because most of these personality traits are not bad by itself, right? If you are too emotional, then there is bad, right? If you are too naive,
Yes.
then there is bad too. But naive by itself is not a bad trait, and emotional by itself is not a bad trait either, okay? So let's just add here too emotional and too naive, okay? So far, we have just mentioned bad traits about her personality. What about good things? Does she have any good personality trait? What do you think?
So after Felicity's parents told her if she go to New York, they will not financially supporting her, but she still insists to go to New York. She can be very independent.
Okay, that's a good one. She's independent. She has an independent thought. What else? Owen. If you have to get me one good trait, what personality trait? Which one will be? Tina. Same question. One good thing about Felicity. Come on. She's a good girl.
Breath. She tell her feeling to bed.
Okay, yes. And also connect with what you say. She's independent, right? But that independency comes from a place of being brave. She is being brave for two reasons. The first one is because she, even though there was a reckless decision to follow Ben, right? Without knowing him, that takes courage to do it, to go by your own, all around the other side of the country and live by yourself. And also because when she feels too emotional and she needs to say those feelings, she just do it, right? She just went and confront him and tell him what she feels. So that takes courage too. So I will agree with all of you that she's brave. She is a brave person, okay? Yeah, it could be too emotional sometimes, yes, and maybe too naive. But overall, those are the personality traits that describe her, right? Bravery, emotional, and well, a little bit naive maybe, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. How did Felicity meet Ben and what are her feelings towards him? This one refers directly to what happened in the show, right? So, who can tell me? Who can describe me the whole scene? How did they meet each other? Not for the first time, when she actually talked to him.
First time.
Tell me.
I think just that.
How did they meet?
Just to sign the book.
The yearbook, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that was the first time that they actually had like a social interactions, but they kind of knew each other. At least they knew who they were because they were together at the same high school, right?
But she just fall in love in that time.
Yeah, she mentioned it. She has a crush on him, right? You know what that means, right? Crush means that you have feelings for somebody. Sometimes you don't even tell that person that you have those feelings, but you just happen, right? Sometimes those feelings are not reciprocated, but you still have a crush. So that was her feelings towards Ben. It wasn't the first time that they talked, probably not, but it was the first time that they have like a meaningful social interaction when he sits and then he write down on her yearbook about it. Now, what do you think about what he wrote there? Do you think it's a bad thing or it's a okay thing or what? Tina? What is your perspective about it? He wrote something to her, right? Do you think it was a good thing or a bad thing? What do you think about that? Imagine that that happens to you. What would you feel? How do you feel if somebody that you have a crush on you writes something nice to you in your yearbook? Do you feel like you have a chance, or you just disregard everything?
A little bit irresponsible.
From which part? Felicity or Ben?
Ben.
You think it's a little bit irresponsible?
Yes.
Why?
I think it must be respond in your how you talk about or talk about
So do you think he make a mistake writing that message on there?
a little bit.
Okay, what do you think about it? About the message that he wrote on her yearbook?
I think she just want to make Ben to know that she had a crush on him.
Do you think she has to tell him right away there
Yeah.
when he was like signing her yearbook? What do you think? You know. This is interesting because sometimes we watch TV, sometimes we watch movies, and we just scratch the surface of the things that we are watching, but we don't actually stop thinking about the meaning behind the things that we're actually watching. So that little scene over there implies a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts. For instance, so first of all, it starts everything, yeah, right? What happened if she wouldn't ask him to sign up the yearbook? None of this would happen. Nothing. And she says something right at that part, and I write it down over here. It says, sometimes it's the smallest decisions that can pretty much change your life forever. So what do you think that means? What smallest decision is she referring to? Sometimes the smallest decisions can change your life forever. That line summarizes the whole video, the whole movie, basically. So what is the smallest decision that she's talking about?
Ask her to sign the book.
Yeah, that's that little thing that seems to be very casual because it was graduation day. That's what everybody does, right? But among all the people around, she could ask to sign up the yearbook. She asked him, maybe because she was brave enough to do it, right? So she went there and then, okay, and then because of that little thing, that little trivial thing, which is just sign up a message on your yearbook, then the whole situation changes. She went to New York, all these things happens, and if you continue watching the show, you will see that a lot of things happens after that. But I mean, just that little detail changes everything. Okay? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this one is very controversial question because every time that I bring this to my students, they have different opinions about it. So, what is your personal opinion about Ben as a person? Let's start with Tina. What do you think about him? If I ask you, is Ben a good guy, a bad guy? How do you describe him?
Actually, I don't have special feeling about him. Just
Yeah, but it's not you having special feelings. It's you telling me how do you perceive this person. Let's say that I ask you about people on the street, people that you have seen them doing things or interacting with people, and I ask you, what do you think about this? Or let's bring it even better. If I ask you for a professor that teaches you every week, right? You have an idea about his personality and how he does things, and then I ask you one day, what do you think about this professor? And then you have to tell me your opinion about him. That's this about. So how would you tell me about him?
maybe he's introvert people.
He often hurts people.
Introvert.
Atrophy. You can tell in maybe in Chinese and then between all of you can.
He's friendly to everyone.
Okay, he's friendly to everyone. Is that a bad thing?
Not a really bad thing.
It's not a really bad thing,
Yes.
but it's not a good thing either.
Yes.
What do you think that? Do you think the same? It's too friendly.
I think Ben is very popular,
Uh-huh.
not only in the class, maybe many girls have crush on him too. And Felicity's friend Julie even jealous too. Why? Julie asked Felicity, what do you mean to Ben? What do you mean for Ben? And Felicity explained they study in the same high school.
Okay, so it's obvious that he's a good-looking guy, right? He's very handsome, so that's one part. But what about his personality? How he really is? Do you think he's a good person or he's a bad person? Owen?
Good person, but I think he didn't think deeply.
Okay, he didn't think properly.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Lionel? Why are you shaking your head?
I think he just not. He's not refusing everyone, so that's why he's so popular. Yeah.
Or, so he's not refusing people because of his popularity. So he's happy that people comes to him like saying, "Oh, you're so handsome." I mean, let's be honest. If you are in his situation and you have a lot of attention from people, what would you do? Would you be an asshole about it? Like, don't talk to me. No, you're gonna be also happy and maybe open to talk to everyone, right? What do you think?
You mean the same question?
Yeah, the same one. Do you think he's a player? You know what a player is, right?
Yes.
Do you think he's a player?
Playboy.
Playboy. But player and playboy is the same, right?
The movie is too short
To acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things going on in this first episode because this is the pilot of the whole season. That was the first episode they released, and when they make a pilot about a show, they try to put as many things there for people to know what is going on, right? That's what's happening here. So when he met Felicity the first time at New York, you remember she was about to take the picture for her ID card, right? He was with a girl.
Yes.
He kissed her like they were dating. You see, he kissed her in the mouth, right? French kiss. But then a few weeks later, he's interested in Julie. He wants to date Julie, right?
Yes.
So does that make him a player?
Yes.
Well, in some way, yes, it's true. But also you have to think about his new New York. He's like experiencing the college life for the first time. So if you ask around here, maybe it's not that dissimilar what a guy just starting college would act to, right? Especially if you are good looking as he is. Now, my point here is that yes, he made a lot of mistakes in terms of social interactions. He could have been a little bit more clear with Felicity about where he stands, right? But he's not that bad either, because after she confronted him at his apartment when they have this argument at the door, right? He could have just leave it there. He could just unfriend her, Felicity, never talk to her again, or take advantage of her, right? You know what I mean, right? But he didn't. Any of those things. He still tried to befriend her, and he even tried to justify the fact that he was lying in his college essay application. So he didn't have to do that, and he still did. So maybe he's not a bad person anymore, right? I mean, It's true what Owen says. We need to keep watching the show to see how they develop. But just initially, you can tell that he's not that bad. Everybody has flaws. Even Felicity has flaws, right? She's too emotional and too naive, right? So he is also maybe, as you say, he needs to express his feelings a little bit better, and then people can understand how he feels, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this one is also interesting to acknowledge why Felicity's parents disagree with her decision to go to New York. Okay, let's start with you, Anna. Give me one reason why do you think they disagree?
Because her parents want to protect her, and because she study near her home, they can just see her every time, see many times. But if she go to New York, they have to they cannot just.
Where is
take
she
care of her.
originally? Do you get that? Where in the U.S. is Felicity and her family?
California?
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. So she's from California, and New York is in the other side of the country. It's like the opposite sides. California is in the west side, and then New York is in the east side. It's the whole country between, right? So it's far. You need to fly
do
to
you
go
think
from
her,
one place to
do you
another.
think her parents are rich?
Yes, I do. I do. Because just to afford to go to college, you need to have money in the US. Yes. So and they fly there like very regularly since too. So yes, and he's a doctor. Felicity's father. So he wants her to be a doctor too. Okay. So yes, they want to protect her. Protect her of what?
I think because New York is a big city, it has many
Temptations.
temptation.
Oh, like what?
Because there's many people,
Okay.
different people
Okay.
in New York.
Okay.
So I think it's a little bit dangerous.
Okay. Especially for a probably she's
Naive
like
girl.
yeah, for a naive girl, and she's just like 18, just graduated from high school,
Yes.
basically. What other reason do you think is important because their parents disagree for her to go to New York?
Maybe her parents want to design her life and want to control her life.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yes, they are concerned about safety issues. The fact that she's going to be living in the other side of the country, they cannot take care of her. And remember what I talk about social media and internet. There's no FaceTime.
Yes.
They cannot call her like using their phones all the time. They cannot text her. It has to be line,
Or
landline
send
to
a
call
mail.
her.
Or send a mail.
Yeah, like letters and stuff. Yeah, so that takes time. So there's not that instant communication that you have right now with your parents. You are, wherever you are, you just text them. It's super easy to communicate, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, it wasn't like that. So that's one reason. The other reason is that yes, she's living in a new city that's a huge city, and there's a lot of dangers and temptations too. So if you are parents, you will be worried about that. But I think the most important thing is about they want her to follow
Well, yeah.
their steps, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure. Probably her mom is also a doctor. Probably. I'm not sure yet. I don't remember. But yeah, they want her to be the same, a doctor, and then that's why they try to organize her life and control her life, like you say. So it's not about just safety issues anymore. It's about being able to control that life. She's the only daughter, so she's the only child. So even with more reasons for the parents to do that. Okay. Okay, how did Felicity meet Julie? Let's see, you remember the whole scene, how it turns out. Who remembers? You mentioned something about she's crying.
In the course, and Julie asked her, "Are you okay?"
Why was she crying the first time? Felicity. What do you think she was crying for?
Because bad.
She was crying because she saw Ben and
So disappointed.
she was disappointed about her decision to fly over there, right? And then she saw that happens right after he saw Ben with the other girl, and
Yes.
Ben even remember her name, you know, stuff, bunch of
she's
stuff.
jealous.
Yeah, probably she was jealous, but I think most that jealousy was the fact that you start like regretting your decision, like what I'm doing here. I came here with this guy and he doesn't even remember my name. So it was frustration. I think it was frustration more than anything else. Maybe that's why she can go from tears to smile very fast, because frustration is not such a strong feeling. You can overcome it easily. It's not like grieving when somebody died. There's a different kind of grieving, right? Different kind of. So, okay, he was crying, she was crying, and then Julie gave her a piece of paper that says, "Are you okay?" And you have two options: yes or no, I will be, something like that. No, and yes, I will be.
Yeah.
Okay, good. How do you think this conversation would have happened if they had phones?
No.
It would happen, but probably she would
Different
type it on her phone and show her instead of
Yes.
writing it down on a piece of paper, right? Probably it would happen in that way. And yeah, it was very meaningful the way that happens, because do you think something like that will happen in a classroom here in Taiwan? Here, let's say that the same situation happens in a classroom where you are. The person that is next to you is bursting into tears. What would you do, Tina? Would you do the same as Julie? Like ask her if she's okay?
Maybe
To be honest, be honest.
give my classmate tissue.
About, let's say you don't know that person. It's the first time that you see in the classroom. Because that was the first day of class. If somebody start crying next to you, what would you do? Do you give him tissues? Okay, you're a very kind person. What would you do?
Just look first by the person.
So do you ask that person, like, what's going on? Something
Yes.
wrong with you?
Yes.
Okay. But that's good to know, because sometimes I ask my students here and they say they will be very shy to do something, or they just move away, or they just...
I think in Taiwan most.
In Taiwan, most the reactions most are gonna be like that. It's gonna be like, what's going on?
Yes.
Move away, or go and ask the teacher, but never actually go and talk to that person. So what happened there is very common in the US, because that's the way they are. But also it's very nice of Julie to do it, because she couldn't just ignore it. Okay? Very good. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, keep talking about Julie. So there's two words to describe the personality of her character. Angel, can you tell me? Based on what you saw so far, two adjectives or two words. Well, adjective.
I'm jealous.
She's jealous.
Yeah, because she just she saw Felicity and Ben together, so she's a little bit jealous. But after she want to keep the relationship, so I think she think that Felicity is a very important friend, so she don't want to lose friends.
Okay.
Mhm.
What do you think about that, Owen?
Me,
Do you think she was jealous?
I don't think that, but I think she have some responsible.
Do you think she's responsible?
Yes, because she double check the relationship between
Her and
Felicity and Ben.
Ben. What do you think, Tina? How about Julie? She a good person or she's a bad person?
She's a good person.
She's a good person. Why do you think she's good?
I remember she said if she had known
That Ben and Felicity.
Felicity like Ben, and she's not close to Ben.
Exactly. So Yeah, I think she was very reasonable in her decisions because I remember she was hesitant at the beginning to get together the three of them, like to study, even though they were like having drinks in a bar. But she said, "What is going on between you guys? Are you dating?" And then Felicity was, "No, no, we're friends, we're friends." So she was reassuring herself, like, "Okay, I'm not interrupting any kind of relationship here," before she got into that position, right? And even after that, she tried to reach to Felicity to tell her that she was sorry. Again, these are people that know each other for a couple of weeks at most. And if you think carefully about this kind of interactions, social interactions nowadays, people don't tend to be that engaged with other people's feelings anymore. First of all, because of social media. If this happens right now, at this time, probably half of the conversations that happens there and the confrontations that happens there will happen on a phone. If Julie feels so sorry about it, she could just text her instead of try to look for her and talk to her directly. In fact, if you think about it a little bit, probably most of the situations here will be prevented if they have social media contact, because what we do all the time, testing our friends to ask them things, that instant feedback. Let's say that the day that they went together to have drinks, just before Felicity has this outburst to go back to argue with Ben at the door, she could have just texted Julie, "Where are you?" Or "Ben, I need to talk to you," instead of just showing at the door, right? So a lot of things have changed nowadays, and it's reflected in the conflicts and the things that happens in the show. Okay, let's move on to the next character. What is your personal opinion about Noel? We have 4 important characters in this. You have Ben, you have Felicity, Julie, and Noel. And they have their important roles in the whole narrative, okay? So, you already take a look at Felicity, Ben, and Julie. What about this guy? What do you think is his role in the whole situation? Anna.
A good guy, but
He's a good guy.
yes, because he just maybe say many opinion or us personally, but he say don't really put her in.
Do you agree with him? Anna.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Why he's a good guy, Tina? Is he a good guy?
But sometimes he comfort his friend and Felicity.
Anything to add?
Maybe a little annoying. Just when Felicity with Ben, they are studying and
He came on, there's a reason that they highlight that
a
kind
lot
of.
of times.
It's because he's trying to tell you, the whole show is trying to telegraph you that he has feelings from Felicity. In case that you haven't noticed up to this point, they're trying to push, this guy, he likes Felicity. So that's why he came, because he wants to check that, I don't know, maybe he's jealous that he's not there. Or he wants to know who's Ben, because, So yes, he has feelings for her, but is he a good guy? Probably he is. He has genuine feelings from Felicity, and then he made those known almost at the end, right? When she asked him, "You have feelings for me?" and he said, "Yes, I do." But he still has this role of like advisor, because that's what he is actually. He's the RA. He's a resident advisor. Okay? It's like you live in the dorms, and there's one person in charge of the whole floor where you live. If you have complaints or whatever, you go to that person. So he is that person. So he's fulfilling a role, but at the same time, he's getting involved emotionally with Felicity. Things develop later on. You can continue watching the show. Question, I always ask this to everybody. So if you are in the position of Felicity and you have to choose between the two of them, you have to choose between Ben and between Noel, which one would you choose? Tina.
Uh,
I mean, based on what you just have watched in the video and your own impressions about the two characters, which one would you choose?
Choose go home and get a car.
Go back to California and leave all this mess behind. Yeah, but imagine that you have the chance to have a relationship, a meaningful relationship with any of these two guys. Which one would you choose? Is that too hard? It's a question.
um, maybe no,
Maybe not. Why?
because he's really care Felicity.
Okay, so he genuinely care about her, right? What about you, Anna? Which one would you choose?
Oh, I think she just supports facility and take care of facility behind. Behind.
You know,
Yeah, I just have feeling.
you have the feeling. What about you? Which one would you choose if you were Felicity?
Also no, but yes, a little bit noise,
Okay.
but I think it's the real care about yourself.
Okay. I have a big crush on Noel when it was a show 25 years ago.
Oh,
Yes. I thought he was super cute. And I said, okay, I was like Team Noel. And I want to tell you how this ended up because that's the end of the show. The whole show is about her through college, the 4 years of college. This is freshman year. Then you have sophomore, you have junior, and you have senior. And during the whole 4 years, it's like this love triangle between Noel, Felicity, and Ben.
so they get together.
She ended up with one of those two, but I don't want to tell you with who, okay? You're gonna have to look it by yourself, okay?
Okay.
Okay, but a lot of things happen in between the freshman year and the senior year. But yes, she ended up at the end of the show with one of the two. guys.
Not a band, right?
I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so question: do you think Felicity overreacted about Ben's intentions to date Julie? Overreacting in the way that she has this kind of like emotional burst, and then she went to tell him all what she feels, right? Do you think she overreacted in that way? She could have managed handling it in a different way, or what? What do you think, Owen? Do you think she overreacted?
Yes.
Yes. Why?
Because they just both say okay.
Yeah, because they were just friends,
Yes.
right? And they make that very clear. Ben asked her over and over, "Are you okay with this? Are you okay with it?" And she
Yeah.
keep telling him, "Yes, I'm okay." So then, what is the reason of the overreaction, right? What do you think about it, Tina?
A little bit.
Do you think she overreacted a little bit?
Just she saw Ben and Julie they together
Mm.
and she not talk to Julie.
Mm. Okay. What about you, Anna? What do you think?
But because Felicity is jealous about Julie and Ben's relationship, so one night she just came to Ben's home and they had a fight. But after Felicity saw Julie stay overnight in Ben's home, so she's very disappointed because they probably have sex. Okay.
Well, we don't know that. And to be honest, that happens the same night that they were having this get together at the bar. I mean, it doesn't pass days after that. It was the same night that he asked her, "Can I date Julie?" And then she say, kind of like being herself, like, "I think Julie thinks you are amazing," right? She was actually telling that from her own perspective, but Julie never said that to her, right? So she was a little bit down when she went back to her room, and then something happens.
Yes.
When she went back to her room, what happened? Do you remember that little detail? That thing is important, and some people pass it completely unaware about that specific detail. She went back to her room, and she sit on the bed, and she was like, kind of like very sad demeanor, right? And then something happened. What happened?
A roommate?
The roommate arrived, and then what happened with the roommate? You remember what happened there? That little interaction.
But the duck don't talk too much. It doesn't.
They didn't talk at all.
Yeah, yes.
I took the liberty to analyze that little part because I think that was the catalyst. That was what actually pushed her to the verge to go to have these outbursts at Ben's place, because she was what was her feeling? She feels like she was invisible.
Yes.
That her feelings wasn't taken in account. She was feeling invisible with Ben the whole time, because even though that she in some sort of way told him that she has a crush on him, he was still treating her as a friend, and he was bypassing her and oh, I like Julie. What do you think about? Of course, she was pretending that she wasn't affected by that, but she was. But she was still having. She feels invisible. And then when she went back to her room, what happened? She tried to talk to the roommate, and the roommate just ignored her, like she don't even exist. That was what clicked her, and then she went there to do what she has to do. So that little thing is important. So those little details tells you how the narrative goes, how the feelings get evolving throughout the whole thing, okay? What about, I think it's just two more before we go. So do you think it's better for Felicity to return to California to retake the original plans for college? Start with you, Owen. Return back to California and resume the original plan. Or you prefer her to stay in New York and continue her own journey there? What would you do?
If I this.
No.
Oh.
No, well, you can put it this way, but if I ask you, which one would you choose, or which one do you think is the best choice?
I think stay in New York.
Okay, why?
Because need to train herself.
She needs to train herself.
Yes.
Okay, we're just gonna elaborate on that later. So which one?
Maybe she's better to go back to California because her parents will support her financially, and probably Ben is very popular for girls. So maybe after he cannot just love her for one person. He
She will be heartbroken all the time.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think. What about you, Tina? Which one?
Still living in New York. She can make new friends, for example, Julie and.
Yes. Okay, so there's two choose to stay in New York, one go back to California. So I think normally what people would do is the safest option, which is going back to your original plan where your parents are going to support you and you're going to have a car, an apartment, right? But she decided to stay in New York for the obvious reason. She wants to train herself, as you say, she wants to test that she can do it by herself without parents, okay? She wants to keep testing that independence, which is like becoming an adult. And also what you say is very important too. It's not just about Ben anymore. Yeah, Ben is an important part in the process, but she can just meet a bunch of new friends in New York and then start a new journey there. It has nothing to do with Ben anymore, okay? And the last one. What do you think is the main message that this short movie is trying to tell us? Start with Tina. Like in a few words, what is the message behind it?
You can control your life. Don't let anyone to tell you what you should do something.
Okay, so have your own agency when you are choosing your own choices, right? Okay.
And never give up.
Never give up.
Because she came to New York because she had hope that she probably will win Ben's back.
So you're telling her that first you say that she needs to go back to Palo Alto, California, but now you're telling that she has to have hope to pursue Ben. Never lost hope. Maybe at the end they're gonna end up together, right? What about you?
Don't be too naive.
Don't be too naive. In which way? following someone?
Yes, relationship.
Okay, so don't be too naive. Make your own choices and never lose hope. It's not bad. You put all together. It sounds good, right? Yeah, basically what it's trying to tell us is like you need to be in control of your own life, even though that your parents of society or everything push you in one direction. If you don't want to go in that direction, even though if it's probably the good one, sometimes the good one is not the right one. Okay, so maybe the right one is just stay by your own and just grow up as an adult by yourself, right? Even though it's more work, it's more difficult because she has to do everything by herself and basically, yeah. Okay, it was a very good discussion, right? In case that you want to continue watching the show, it's very easy to find it online. You can just download the episodes and you can watch. It's 4 seasons and it is quite good. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, thank you for coming. Next week, we have class next week. Yes. Next week is the last class. Okay. So we're gonna be doing an assessment exercise, which is I'm gonna give you time for you to think about everything that you have seen in the last 10 weeks, and you're going to then, after a few minutes, you're gonna tell me with your own words your impressions about the whole seminar. What have you learned? What do you think you can improve? What do you think I can improve? And it's gonna be like a conversation between that, okay? Got it. Thank you for coming. See you next time.
Thank you. Oh, 谢谢。